I've been doing this 11 years. Started the business, I was actually 23. I was working at a BMW dealership in Bloomfield. They were having a hard time with a guy as young as me. I was in a management level role. And when new management came in, they rolled out and they're like, there's no way that this kid is running the shop. So they immediately fired me. Ageism, let's call it. I wish that I had gone back and probably gotten a lawyer for that, but I'm glad I didn't, because I came around and started my own business right away. I said, if I really love this work, and if I'm going to continue to do this for the rest of my life or my career, I want to do it for myself, because that's the only way that someone else isn't going to ruin it for me. One of the ways that I think that I was able to be successful with growing this business was that there was another business that was operating in this space, and I was organically able to take over more and more space as that other business actually was winding down. I didn't have this huge rent to pay up front or whatever. I had just the space that I needed, and slowly over time, over the last decade, we've added more and more. Now we've got 6 lifts, 10,000 square feet, and up until the end of 2025, we had 4 full-time employees plus myself. So 5 guys. At our largest, we were 6, and we were doing about $1.5 million a year in annual revenue. So quite a lot of BMWs being fixed.
What percentage of your revenue is people who are tracking their cars, and what is just normal, everyday BMW drivers? Yeah,
that's a common question that I get asked. Usually the revenue split here is generally 70-30. It's actually 70% regular street cars, service and repair, 30% being the race and performance work. Over the last 3 years, we've become very selective with who we're working on in terms of performance clientele. There's a huge variance in people who just say want to modify their car, and then those who actually want to race their car. And the people that are racing their car are generally quite serious. They have a budget to spend annually. We help them invest that money in their car in the right decisions, their training practice, the right parts for their car, things like that. And so I've kind of honed in the business in a way where I give up my bandwidth specifically to those types of people, and not the ones that are just looking to add a simple modification to their car. I look to build relationships with people.
Gotcha. So substantial, long-term.
Yeah. There's people that come and race their cars in some of the series here that will spend in excess of 6 figures a year racing their car. Okay. Yeah, this thing sounds like a hot rod. You're gonna be impressed, I think.
Would you say that you've raced every gen of BMW? Not every gen, but the most common gens, 36, 46, 30.
E30, E36, E46, E92, which is the V8 M3, and then you have the F87 or F22, which is the 235 IR race car that BMW was making for a while. And now we have the G platform cars. I've personally raced every one of those vehicles that I just mentioned. One that has been a standout, and that still is, and I think it's a testament to the ability of that platform, is obviously the E46. I would say that it's a good blend of affordability and reliability, whether it be the non-M like the 330 or the M, which is obviously the S54 powered engine.
Wow, so this motor looks
pretty beast, yeah.
It looks crazy. So tell me about this.
Yeah, so this is a good client of mine, Tom Grady's E46 M3, 2004. Kind of a cool color. You don't really see this color that often, especially people who want to convert it into a race car. But
this is a factory color option?
Yeah, it's a factory color. Yeah, when Tom first came to my shop 3 or 4 years ago, this was a street-driven car with a license plate and a full interior. He was just getting started in HPDEs. He was a big Porsche guy, had some really nice Porsches, but didn't want to track the Porsches. Obviously, the value's a lot higher. Well, maybe not now. But anyway, this car came to us pretty much stock street car, full interior. And over the last 4 years, we have slowly chipped away at what we kind of call like the Mona Lisa build. Now, I don't want to say that and get ahead of myself. Like, you'll see that the car's dirty. This is kind of like as it rolled off the track at the end of 2025. But this car has everything, and I mean literally everything, that you could buy for an E46 M3 race car.
What are some of the most common problems you see with a spec E46?
I would say like a spec E46, problem-wise, they have relatively stout but somewhat temperamental aluminum block and aluminum head M54 engines. It's common to have them overheat. It's common for them to be over-revved and have valve train damage. So I would say like engine health issues are number one. It's a very competitive class with a maximum horsepower limitation of, I believe, 225 horsepower. So you could go buy a car that's got, a ton of runtime on it and may need a refresh on the engine, and you could be making 25 or 30 horsepower under that. And so you'll show up to the track to race, what you think will be competitively, and find that your motor is so tired that you're getting pulled down the front straightaway, like no matter what you do. One of the biggest problems that we actually run into here with any built race car that someone may buy is usually the wiring. It seems like it's a step that most people overlook. When they're building a car, they either don't have the patience, the skill, or the knowledge to properly convert the factory street car wiring to what would we call like a motorsport grade harness or a motorsport level of setup. We end up having to do that later down the line, and because there's usually reliability problems with the way that the engine cuts out or the fuel pump keeps dying or all these other weird electrical gremlins that may come up along the way. And I feel like it's an often overlooked build step in a lot of like pre-2020 race vehicles. I mean, we have cars coming here from the 90s and 2000s all the time. In fact, the car right behind me is something we're doing a wiring harness on. And it was a significant amount of work to remove the existing harness, and it's gonna be a significant amount of work to wire and put in a new one now that the car's already been built. What we started with on this car was a complete strip down to the bare chassis. After that took place, we removed all the sound deadening material, the wiring harness, and any other associated hardware. So this car was basically just a bare shell, as if it were rolling through the assembly line back at BMW. From there, a 6-point SCCA certified roll cage with door protection, foot protection, and a couple other braces was welded in. The car was then painted, the whole interior was painted in this epoxy gray. Put in an automotive, or I should say a motorsport grade wiring harness, which was about 40 pounds less than the factory wiring harness, and installed everything to be operated through this very simple switching panel up here. We have an AIM onboard data system that logs multiple channels, as well as a VBox data system, which has video integration. This customer also uses the Garmin GPS-enabled on-track coach. We've got IRP shifter. We've got a nice carbon one-piece dashboard that weighs literally like 3 pounds comparatively to the factory leather dash. And all of the glass, other than the windshield, has been converted to polycarbonate. We also added a carbon fiber one-piece roof. There's really not a whole lot going on back here, but we put a lightweight battery. This car is running Nitron two-way adjustable coilovers. Been custom sprung. True rear, so the spring and shock are one piece now. This car comes from the factory with a divorced spring and shock, so it's got a true rear coilover. Brembo Performance racing calipers. This is a true motorsport caliper. It's not like a Stop Tech painted, upgrade type thing you're running on your Spoon Honda Civic at the car meets. This is like a really motorsport, part. So we've got the matching set for the rear. Front fenders have been flared significantly as well. The sheet metal has been removed from the inside of the fenders, and this has been stretched out to accommodate up to 305 squared on 11-inch wheels. We've got spherical bearings throughout of all the suspension. This has a Diffs Online 410 built 3-clutch differential. This differential alone, $7,000. We actually are swapping out this for a Super Sprint stepped header into a X-pipe. That was one of the upgrades we decided to do this year. This car already had a header on it, but it was like an aftermarket, not so great brand. In power to weight racing, torque means a lot because they measure mostly horsepower. So the more torque we can get out of a motor, the better performance off the corner it's going to get. And so we're putting a really, really nice exhaust system on this car. This car's got also Diffs Online built transmission. That was another $6,000. That's basically a ZF5. These cars come with a 6-speed Getrag 420 transmission. We take those out and we install the E46 M3 5-speed ZF transmission. A, they're stronger. B, they're missing 6th gear, which we don't need for the track, and so they're about 30 pounds lighter. This is a tubular lower control arm with spherical bearings in it. This is a BMWs part, and we've got a relocated tubular adjustable bump steer corrected tie rod. That sounds like a lot of gibberish. Basically, what happens is as you lower a car, the geometry of the suspension changes, right? And so as that lowering becomes your new static ride height, if you don't compensate all of that suspension for that lowering, you're gonna get really wacky geometry on the track, right? So the car's designed, all the knuckles and the suspension pickups are designed to kind of ride at the factory ride height. And so now we run that a lot lower, and as a result of that, we actually add in these corrected parts here, which allow the car to operate the way that it should, like with its factory geometry, but now that it's been lowered. And then obviously just upgraded radiator oil cooler and mechanical fan delete. There's a giant carbon one-piece splitter that bolts onto the bottom of this. It's currently off right now for servicing. Had a couple cracks in it. We needed to fiberglass back up. And yeah, we can drop it back down and take a look at the business end of this, which is it's fully bolt loaded.
Everything you've learned has been by working on BMWs. Did you go to school for anything, or did you?
I'm 100% self-taught.
Wow.
I learned in my parents' garage against their will too, because they wanted me to go to college, which I did. I went to Rowan University for about a year. I dropped out and I just said, this is what I want to do. This business has taken a lot from me over the years, and it's also given me a lot back. But the level of stress to operate this, I don't want to say on my own, because I've had a lot of good people that have come and gone over the years that have helped me to keep this business alive and running, but it has also required a lot of sacrifice, and I'm ready for another chapter in my life where I don't have to make as much sacrifice to keep a roof over my head and to be happy.
So you think this is the ultimate E46 M2?
I mean, I would love to race somebody who thinks they got a faster one. We'll put it that way. If you got an E46 that is comparable and you want to meet an NJMP, March 25th, 2026, let's see what you got, because this is one of the fastest cars I think that we built here at this shop. My first BMW was a 1986 BMW E30 325. I actually bought the car before I had a license, and it had the motor taken out of it before I could drive, and I actually swapped a 95 E36 M3 engine into it. That was like my first major project, and had that all swapped over before I got my license, which I was actually pushed back a year on being able to drive because I was arrested for speeding.
So you swapped an E30 with an S52?
At 16, yeah.
At 16 years old?
Yeah, using E30
oh my
Tech,
God.
E30 Tech forums, and I don't think really Google is a thing. It also was on a full Megasquirt, which is a standalone engine management system, and I made a custom harness and programmed the computer all myself in my parents' basement.
So what do you think makes a BMW so special? What is it compared to other cars that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I've passively sold a lot of BMWs in my life, and that just comes from, the passion that I have for the brand, and that comes from, I think, just the way that they drive. I think that most people own a BMW for that reason. It's they drive differently than your average vehicle on the road, and they've got a certain level of connectivity that is translated back through the controls. So you feel it in the way that it steers, brakes, accelerates, the smoothness of the engine, the level of speed that it can achieve on an open road. They have a certain level of performance as well that is expected, I think, out of the brand, where you're not buying just a car, you're buying a vehicle that it can do more than just get you back and forth. So that is evidenced by some of the cars that are behind me, which have all been modified in some way to get either more joy out of the car, just driving it to work, or for maximum performance on the track.